24-hour cameras, wildlife sitcom and drama, emotional cliffhangers. Reality TV at its best. The difference? The actors, African wildlife. The set, the African bush. The scriptwriter and producer, Mother Nature.
Last time, the Wild Dog pups got their first taste of the big bad world. Cobra and Shungu brought down a kill in the nick of time. Madala's hormones went crazy, and so did he. And Maggie and her cubs made a meal of an aardvark. The researchers report that despite the winter, Melissa is making regular kills and keeping her cubs well supplied with fresh meat. She seems to be hunting far more successfully than brothers Cobra and Shungu. Perhaps the rigors of motherhood provide a greater motivation to perform. Every day that passes without mishap exponentially boosts Melissa's chances of raising her 3 cubs to maturity. Rolani's mysterious male competition in the Adini section is still hanging around. Both leopards have detected the other's scent and presence, but so far they've managed to stay out of each other's way. The interloper is young, strong, and definitely not going anywhere. The time of reckoning draws nearer. It's not a question of if or even when, only how bad will the confrontation be. With Menandi's litter decimated, the researchers are speculating as to when she might come into estrus again. Even if she does, will Cobra and Shungu have the strength to impregnate her? The brothers may have to devote all their resources to surviving the winter, in which case Menandi's season will pass unfruitfully. This time on Wildlife Diary, Lisa complains to the rest of the pride. The forward Flippy once more shows the boys who's really the boss. Tia's band of female warriors enjoys some male company at last. And the wild dogs run into a stroke of luck. Last time in the Chippenberry section, an aardvark's life came to an abrupt end. All in a good cause, though. Maggie, Max and Moby relished this welcome change to the usual antelope. This evening finds Lisa in distress. Luma hears his mother's painful calls. So do Maggie and the cubs. Something's definitely bothering the old girl. But what could it be? Luma and Limu set off in Lisa's direction to check up on her. Maggie also feels she should drop in on her pride sister. Lisa's 2 sub-adult offspring approach warily. Zero has not shown much tolerance for them lately, but they're concerned about their mother. Zero is first onto the scene. The male lion accepts Lisa's ill temper with good grace. The poor woman is heavily pregnant and extremely uncomfortable. The morning arrives, and the sub-adults haven't yet managed to get near Lisa. Zero's presence deters them. The boys hang back aimlessly, wondering what to do. It's a confusing time for them. Their world is changing at a rapid rate. Felix is gone, Maggie has her own cubs to worry about, Their mother is about to give birth. Adulthood is fast approaching. As it does, the sub-adults begin to experience the aggression and territorial behavior that drives the dynamics between competing male lions. The cubs tussle, unconcerned by the dilemmas facing their older cousins, Luma and Limu. Maggie feels for Lisa's plight. Not too long ago, she was in the same boat. Pregnant, irritable, strange aches and pains, and nowhere to get comfortable. Zero keeps his eye on the young males. Bravely, Limu approaches his mother. Max spots that a problem is in the making. The cubs scuttle to safety as Zero has words with Limu. It's the way of the pride. Maggie grooms her cubs, knowing that sooner or later the time will come when they must face the music. Zero's satisfaction is evident. Poor Lisa not only feels grotty, but watches helplessly as Zero threatens her sub-adult cubs. She seeks out a more comfortable spot, away from the lion. Maggie leads her cubs off. She doesn't want to be caught up in any confrontation between Zero and the young males trying to get to their mother. Lisa settles into a more neutral position, but to no avail. Luma and Limu give up on her and move away. An uncertain road lies ahead for these two. How long can they last in the pride before Zero drives them off? Coming up, the wild dogs make a welcome find. And Flippy returns to dominate the scene. The Mafanyani section recently witnessed the wild dog pups going on their first official excursion into the bush under the watchful eye of their mother. Never before had they ventured so far from the den. The pups discovered a fascinating world filled with new sights, sounds and scents, but a world fraught with danger nevertheless. The ever-alert Alf has detected an interesting smell. Duchess also samples the atmosphere. There's something out there that's not to be sniffed at. The fat, happy pups romp oblivious to the weighty responsibilities shared by the adult pack members. Alf, Biggles and Duchess head off to investigate the unmistakable scent of carrion. The pups follow, but in vain. They come to the invisible line beyond which they may not cross without adult supervision. They dare go no further.
Morning, Aaron. Listen, I've got something interesting here. I've been following the dogs for about 250 meters southeast of the den, and I've got them here on a C-class male eland, and it looks like it's been scavenged, Aaron. The vultures have already been at it. I think you should come and have a look.
Okay, copy that, Brent. I'm about 10 minutes out. Would it be possible for you to stand by until I get there?
That's not a problem, Aaron. I'll be standing by and keeping you updated.
Great stuff, Brett. I'll be there in 10, man. Thanks a lot for the update.
My pleasure.
Okay, we've been waiting for Nandi. We've been spending a bit of time with her, trying to see what she's doing. But yeah, that's quite unusual. Let's go and have a look, see what's going on with the dogs.
The eland, the largest species of African antelope, stands up to 1.7 meters tall and weighs anything up to 850 kilograms. There's just no way 3 wild dogs could have brought down this animal. It probably died of natural causes. But that's no reason for the dogs not to enjoy the windfall. Alf burrows into the abdomen with vulture-like efficiency. Having gorged himself to a virtual standstill, Biggles heads back to camp. So does Duchess. But Alf is determined to make the most of this lucky strike. Meanwhile, the pups wait patiently for the return of the adults. Blaze spots lunch on its way. The pups make a dash for Alf. He's always the first port of call. They know that reliable old Alf never fails to cough up the goods. The pups are insatiable, but Alf has had enough of the greedy bunch. He looks for a place to settle in for a snooze. The well-fed brood with bulging tummies have little energy for play. Soon their enthusiasm peters out, and they're forced to sleep off the heavy meal. How long will it be before Duchess permits the youngsters to go hunting with the big dogs? The Chippenbury section has had to deal with Madala's raging surge of testosterone over the last few weeks. The musk bull spent most of this unsettling period away from the herd, on his lonesome, and fortunately so. In his maddened state, contact with other males may have led to violence. The matriarchal herd enjoys a peaceful existence. A flippy hasn't bothered them for some time, and they have yet to deal with Madala's must. The females seem preoccupied with the new arrival. They're still very protective of the baby. A dust shower protects the elephant against external parasites. The little chap must still learn all the tricks and habits of elephanthood, like how to pluck the choicest browse with the end of one's nose. Talifa's baby has removed the focus from the older calves. They're left more and more to their own devices. By contrast, the cows seldom take their eyes off the infant. Nikita, the herd matriarch, gives instruction for the herd to move on to the next feeding patch. Immediately, the other cows and calves fall in and obediently follow. Nikita is the oldest member of the group. The herd relies on her wisdom and experience for survival. She decides when and where to feed. She decides when and where the herd slakes its thirst. It's up to Nikita to lead her group to prosperity and keep them out of harm's way. Uppermost in the matriarch's list of priorities at the moment is Talifa's child. Instinctively, the herd encircles the baby, shielding it from prying eyes and potential danger. Nikita detects a threat and adopts a menacing posture. Again, she tosses a warning look at the intruder, as if to say, that's far enough and no further if you value your life. Meanwhile, a few kilometers away, Flippy strips a tree of its tasty bark. He tires of feeding alone and moves off to find the rest of his bachelor buddies. Elephants are extremely destructive feeders. An adult takes in over a ton of food every week, which tends to deplete the vegetation. Fumbe and Mr. M are enjoying a quiet browse when Flippy arrives wielding a big stick. From past experience, they know this could spell trouble. Mr. M tries to ignore the newcomer and continues feeding. But the dynamics of the bachelor herd demand that everyone jostles for influence. Flippy's an old hand at the politics of power. He watches the others carefully. Fumbe makes the first move and nudges Mr. M off his prime browsing position. This firmly establishes his seniority over Mr. M, but also throws down the gauntlet to Flippy. Flippy must respond. Failure to do so could mean loss of status. He wastes no time in taking up the challenge. Using trunk signals and body language, Flippy indicates to Fumbe that he should yield. Fumbe holds on until the last possible moment, and then surrenders, placing his trunk in Flippy's mouth as a sign of submission. Flippy is king once more. But what will happen when he meets Mad Madala the Musk Bull? Coming up, a pleasant surprise for Tia and the girls. Not too long ago, the Mafunyani hosted a little moonlight tryst between Lolly and a pair of interesting love objects on the inside of the boma. Lolly drooled over them, and the males longed for closer contact. But it was not to be, and the disappointed lady faded into the night. Today, the manager of the Krongwe, Philip Owen, arrives at the boma to set the two males free. The skittish hyenas sprint away from the fence. There's panic inside the boma. The boys don't know what to make of this activity. While the hyenas skulk in the undergrowth, Philip lays an irresistible trail that leads to freedom. There's nothing like the smell of a dead antelope to draw a spotted hyena out of his shell. A hyena possesses extremely acute senses. They can hear activity and scent carrion from kilometers away. One of the boys overcomes his fear and shows some curiosity. Philip leaves them to make the leap of faith in their own time. Sooner or later, they'll come on to the carcass. When that happens, Philip will close the gate. The nervous male ponders whether to cross the line. Maybe not now, but how long can the boys resist the lure of lunch? The next day finds Tia defending a meal from a plucky black-backed jackal. Both hyena and jackal are experienced scavengers who attach great value to the putrid remains of the zebra. For the time being, Tia stands her ground and the jackal is out of luck. Giggles greets Tia in a sniffing and grooming ritual. As the leader of the clan, Tia enjoys special attention from the others. The social interaction pleases the dominant female and confirms her position. One of the newly released males approaches. He wants to join in, but holds back nervously. It could take months of submission to the females before the boys fully integrate with the clan. Tia's going nowhere. If the males want in, they must come to her. Giggles, on the other hand, can't help herself and goes over to check out the talent. The male hesitates shyly. As a female hyena, Giggles enjoys automatic superiority over the male. He trots away bashfully. Perhaps it's too soon to get involved with the females, after only a single morning of freedom. A brave but silly warthog bumbles into the area. Tia, unnerved by all the activity, drags her carcass to a safer location. Between the males and the warthog, she might just become distracted long enough for someone to steal it. Giggles takes off after the pork. Hyenas make lethal hunters as well as accomplished scavengers. Tia debates whether to join in. But the warthog wisely retires. As the Kurongwe winter grips the land, watering points grow few and far between. Tia slakes her thirst from a rock pool, saving herself a long round trip to a waterhole. Giggles keeps an eye on the males. The boys spot a group of zebra and try their luck, but the zebra are not about to lose another victim. Giggles joins the chase, while Tia steadfastly refuses to leave her rotting piece of zebra to the jackal. She may have had no male company for a long time, but that's no excuse for giving up an important meal. The boys leave the scene. Gaining entry to Tia's hyena clan will be a process, not an event. There's no doubt that Giggles is keen to have them aboard. So is Lolly, even though she missed out on today's fun. Will Tia accept them? How long will it take for the males to find their way into her affections? Next time on Wildlife Diary, the wild dogs relocate the pups. Zero terrifies the sub-adults. Menandi comes into estrus. Can Cobra and Shungu perform? And we check up on Yanina and family.
"24-hour cameras, wildlife sitcom and drama, emotional cliffhangers. Reality TV at its best. The difference? The actors, African wildlife. The set, the African bush. The scriptwriter and producer, Mother Nature."
Last time, the wild dog pups got their first taste of the big bad world. Cobra and Shungu brought down a kill in the nick of time. Madala's hormones went crazy, and so did he. And Maggie and her cubs made a meal of an aardvark. researchers report that despite the winter, Melissa is making regular kills and keeping her cubs well supplied with fresh meat. She seems to be hunting far more successfully than brothers Cobra and Shungu. Perhaps the rigors of motherhood provide a greater motivation to perform. Every day that passes without mishap exponentially will Cobra and Shungu have the strength to impregnate her. The brothers may have to devote all their resources to surviving the winter, in which case Menandi's season will pass unfruitfully. This time on Wildlife Diary, Lisa complains to the rest of the pride. The forward Flippy once more shows the boys who's really the boss. Tia's band of female warriors enjoys some male company at last. And the wild dogs run into a stroke of luck. Last time in the Chippenberry section, an aardvark's life came to an abrupt end. All in a good cause, though. Maggie, Max and Moby relished this welcome change to the usual antelope. This evening finds Lisa in distress. Luma hears his mother's painful calls. So do Maggie and the cubs. Something's definitely bothering the old girl. But what could it be? Luma and Limu set off in Lisa's direction to check up on her. Boosts Melissa's chances of raising her 3 cubs to maturity. Rolani's mysterious male competition in the Adini section is still hanging around. Both leopards have detected the other's scent and presence, but so far they've managed to stay out of each other's way. The interloper is young, strong, and definitely not going anywhere. The time of reckoning draws nearer. It's not a question of if or even when, only how bad will the confrontation be. With Menandi's litter decimated, the researchers are speculating as to when she might come into estrus again. Even if she does,